All right, today we're diving into a really big change to one of India's strictest financial laws, the Black Money Act. There's a new amendment on the table that's going to change the game for anyone living in India with assets abroad. So let's break down what this actually means for you.
But first, let me ask you something that gets right to the heart of the matter. Imagine this. You've worked overseas, you come back to India, and you forget about an old bank account that's just sitting there. Could that one honest mistake, a simple oversight, actually land you in prison for 7 years? I know it sounds crazy, but the answer, up until now, has been a terrifying yes.
And look, this isn't just some hypothetical scenario. This is real. We're talking about a senior professional who moved back to India after working abroad for years. They completely forgot to declare a dormant account and some mutual funds, worth just under 20 lakh rupees. And for that, they are facing the very real possibility of criminal charges and jail time. It's a crazy situation, right? Just keep that story in the back of your mind because we're definitely going to circle back to it.
So how on earth did we get to a point where a simple mistake has such massive consequences? And what's about to change? Well, to understand that, we've got to take a step back and look at the original law itself, the Black Money Act of 2015.
Okay, so the first thing you have to understand about this act is its core philosophy. This thing was never meant to be just another tax law. No, it's a full-blown penal code. Its starting point, its fundamental assumption is that if you don't disclose a foreign asset, you did it on purpose to evade taxes. There's just no room in the law for, oops, I forgot. And this is where it gets really different from your typical tax law. See, most tax laws assume you're trying to comply, right? So the penalties are usually scaled. But the Black Money Act, it's built on a completely different foundation. It assumes the worst. You could face tax, a penalty, and prosecution all at the same time. There are hardly any escape hatches or relief measures. It was literally designed from day one to be tough. And you can see just how serious it is by looking at its structure. This thing is a complete, self-contained system. I mean, just look, Chapter 5 is dedicated entirely to offenses and prosecutions. That wasn't just tacked on at the end. It's a central pillar. It tells you everything you need to know about its main purpose. It's a tool for prosecution. So, because this law is so incredibly strict, it leads to a really common question, a big misunderstanding, really. Who or what is it actually targeting? You know, most people hear Black Money Act and they think, oh, that's for criminals, for money from illegal activities. But that's the myth. The reality is way, way broader. The law honestly doesn't care how you got the money. It could be from a perfectly legal job you had in London or an inheritance. Its focus is laser sharp on just one thing. Did you disclose it, yes or no? It really all boils down to one simple, absolute rule. If you are a resident of India, and you have an asset outside the country, you must declare it on your tax return. That's it. Period. The entire responsibility, the whole burden, is on you. And this is what brings us right back to the heart of the problem, to that professional we were talking about earlier. It's two very specific sections of this act that create these incredibly high-stakes all-or-nothing situations. Okay, so first up is Section 49. You can think of this as the filing trap. It's pretty straightforward, actually. If you have any foreign assets and you willfully, that's the key word, fail to file your income tax return at all, boom, you're facing up to 7 years of hard time. The law sees it as you not even wanting to get into the system, and that's a huge red flag for them. And then you have Section 50, which is the omission trap. And honestly, this is the one that ensnares way more people. Here, you've actually done the right thing. You've filed your return, but you willfully forget to list a foreign bank account or some stocks. The penalty, exactly the same, up to 7 years in prison. And this is exactly how a simple, oh, I forgot about that, can spiral into a full-blown criminal case. So that's the problem, in a nutshell, right? It's this incredibly harsh all-or-nothing system. But now there is a solution on the horizon. The finance bill for 2026 is proposing something that introduces, for the first time, a sense of proportion to this law.
And it all hinges on one number, a very important number, 20 lakh rupees. This single figure is the new threshold that is set to change absolutely everything.
So here's how this new safety net works. That threat of going to prison under Sections 49 and 50? It's off the table if the total value of what you didn't declare is under 20 lakh rupees. But,
and you really need to pay attention here, this is a huge but, this relief only covers movable assets. We're talking bank accounts, stocks, mutual funds. If you fail to disclose, say, an apartment in Dubai or a plot of land somewhere, that's immovable property, and this safety net does not apply to that, regardless of the value.
Okay, so let's go back to our story from the beginning. Remember that senior professional, the one who forgot to declare assets worth 19.62 lakh? What does this new rule mean for them?
Well, the impact is, it's like night and day. Before this amendment, they were facing a very real threat of going to jail. After this amendment, because their asset was movable and its value is just under that 20 lakh threshold, poof, the threat of criminal prosecution under Section 50 is gone. That is a massive, massive shift.
And here's another really important detail. This change is going to be applied retrospectively, going back to October 1st, 2024. Now, why is that so crucial? It means that people who are in the middle of a case right now can actually use this new rule in their defense. It's almost like the government is admitting, you know what, the old rule was probably a bit too harsh for these kinds of smaller cases. So let's zoom out and look at the big picture. Does all this mean the Black Money Act is going soft? Well, not exactly. It's not about being softer, it's about being smarter. Yeah, let's be really clear here. This isn't about backing down or weakening the law. What we're seeing is a strategic pivot. It's a move away from this idea of absolute deterrence, where you throw the buck at everyone for everything, towards something much more intelligent. You could call it calibrated enforcement. The whole goal here is to sharpen the law's focus. It's about drawing a clear line in the sand. On one side, you have people deliberately hiding millions in offshore accounts. On the other, you have someone who genuinely forgot about a small, old account. This change allows the law to save its biggest cannons for the biggest targets. And at the end of the day, that makes the law feel more fair and, honestly, more credible.
There's a great line that really captures the essence of this whole thing. A strong penal law must also earn respect by being applied fairly and reasonably. And that's the key, isn't it? A law isn't just about being tough. People have to believe it's fair. When you apply it in a balanced, proportional way, you actually make the law stronger, not weaker.
Which really leaves us with one big question to think about. Is this the future of financial law? This move toward enforcement that's more proportional, more calibrated? Are we going to see more laws that aren't just designed to be strict, but are also designed to be smart?